The doctor gave her a quick glance, his steel gray eyes sweeping over her with a cool detachment. "Dr. Richard Hall," he replied curtly, barely acknowledging her outstretched hand. "I trust you've been adequately informed of our hospital's high standards?" Before Erica could respond, Dr. Hall continued, his tone cold and dismissive. "We run a very tight ship here at St. Joseph's, and we expect nothing less than excellence from every member of our staff. I hope you're prepared to meet those expectations." Without waiting for a reply, Dr. Hall turned on his heel and walked briskly down the hallway, leaving Erica standing alone, her hand slowly dropping to her side. The brief interaction had left her feeling deflated, but Erica was not someone who gave up easily. She had faced worse and had always found a way to push through. She straightened her back once more, took a deep breath, and knocked on the head nurse's door. As Erica waited for a response, her thoughts drifted back to her days in nursing school. She remembered the long nights spent studying, the extra hours she had put in at the lab, and the constant need to prove herself in a predominantly white institution. Her mind replayed the words of her mother, who had been her constant source of strength. "Baby girl, you're going to have to work twice as hard as everyone else, but never let them see you sweat. You come from a long line of strong women, and you've got that same strength in you." Her mother's words had guided her through the toughest moments of her life. Erica had graduated at the top of her class, defying the expectations of those who doubted her capabilities. She had silenced the whispers of those who questioned her place in the world of nursing, proving herself time and again. Now, standing in the halls of St. Joseph's, Erica knew she would have to draw on that same strength once more. The door to the head nurse's office finally swung open, revealing a stern-looking woman in her mid-50s. Her sharp features and no-nonsense demeanor immediately set the tone for what was to come. "Miss Johnson, I presume?" the head nurse said, her voice clipped. "Come in. We have a lot to cover, and I expect you to keep up." Erica stepped into the office, already sensing that her journey at St. Joseph's was going to be anything but smooth. There was an unspoken tension in the air, a feeling that something was brewing just beneath the surface. And while Erica couldn't quite put her finger on it, she knew that her presence here was going to stir things up. Little did she know just how much of an impact she was about to have, not just on her own life, but on the entire hospital. The rest of Erica's first day was a whirlwind of activity. She was introduced to countless staff members, each introduction colder than the last. She attended orientation sessions, filled out mountains of paperwork, and familiarized herself with the hospital's layout. Despite the overwhelming workload, Erica remained focused. However, it didn't take long for her to notice the subtle ways in which she was being excluded. Conversations among her colleagues would abruptly halt whenever she entered the room, and she was given far more tasks than her white counterparts. The air was thick with unspoken hostility, but Erica chose to keep her head down and do her job. By the end of her shift, the initial excitement she had felt that morning had been replaced by a gnawing sense of doubt. As she sat at the bus stop, waiting for her ride home, Erica pulled out her phone and dialed a familiar number. After 2 rings, her mother's comforting voice filled her ears. "Hey, baby girl, how was your first day?" her mother asked, her voice full of warmth and encouragement. Erica felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, but she quickly blinked them away. "It was challenging, Mom," she admitted, her voice shaky, "but I'll get through it." Her mother's words had always been a source of strength, and even now, as Erica sat alone at the bus stop, feeling isolated and overwhelmed, she found comfort in them. "You've always been a fighter," her mother reminded her, "and no matter what happens, you'll make it through this. You come from a long line of strong women, and we're all behind you." As the bus finally arrived, Erica boarded, her mind still racing with thoughts of the day. The challenges at St. Joseph's were unlike anything she had faced before, but she was determined not to let them break her. Little did she know, her journey had only just begun. The presence of one patient, Robert Williams, would soon trigger a series of events that would forever change her life and the culture of the entire hospital. Over the ensuing weeks, Erica became more acutely aware of the dynamics at play within St. Joseph's. Her interactions with her colleagues ranged from distant to overtly hostile. She made a concerted effort to connect with other staff members, but found herself consistently met with cold shoulders. Despite her exemplary performance and dedication, She was frequently assigned the least desirable shifts and tasks that were often outside the scope of her training, while her white counterparts enjoyed more favorable assignments. The prejudice was not always overt. It was often cloaked in a veneer of professionalism, making it difficult to confront directly. For example, during staff meetings, her suggestions were often glossed over, only to be acknowledged when echoed by someone else. When she sought support or advice from senior nurses, she was met with abrupt, dismissive responses. One such instance occurred during a particularly grueling shift. Erica had been working non-stop, attending to a series of emergency cases with little respite. As she managed the care of a particularly complex patient, she encountered issues with one of the medical devices. Seeking assistance, she approached Nurse Linda, a senior staff member who had always been particularly frosty towards her. "Nurse Linda, the infusion pump in room 302 is malfunctioning," Erica said, trying to keep her tone neutral and professional. "Could you help me with it?" Linda looked up from her paperwork, her expression a mix of annoyance and condescension. "You're trained to handle such equipment, aren't you?" she replied coolly. "Figure it out. It's part of your job." Despite feeling the sting of Linda's words, Erica managed to resolve the issue on her own, ensuring the patient received the necessary treatment. However, the incident left her feeling even more isolated. The cumulative weight of these experiences began taking a toll on Erica's mental and emotional well-being. Each day felt like an uphill battle, not only against the demands of her job, but against an unwelcoming environment that sought to undermine her at every turn. Meanwhile, patient Robert Williams continued his silent observation. A retired judge with a reputation for being fair and just, Robert had been admitted to St. Joseph's for a complex procedure. His presence in the hospital often went unnoticed, but his keen eyes missed little. He had noticed the change in atmosphere with Erica's arrival and had been quietly documenting his observations, waiting for the right moment to intervene. Robert had lived through the civil rights movement and had seen firsthand the impact of systemic racism. The subtle and overt discrimination he witnessed at St. Joseph's appalled him. He could empathize with Erica's struggles and admired her resilience. Although retired, Robert still wielded considerable influence and connections within the community, and he decided it was time to use them. One evening, after a particularly trying day for Erica, Robert asked to speak to the hospital's administrator, Dr. Grace Henderson. Dr. Henderson was known for her commitment to excellence and her no-nonsense approach to management. When she received Robert's request, she was intrigued. She had known Robert in a professional capacity for many years and respected his judgment. "Judge Williams, what can I do for you?" Dr. Henderson asked as she entered his room. She took a seat by his bed, her expression attentive and curious. "Dr. Henderson, thank you for coming," Robert said, his voice steady but with an underlying urgency. "I've been observing certain troubling dynamics within this hospital, particularly concerning one of your new nurses, Erica Johnson." Dr. Henderson frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" Robert took a deep breath and began outlining the instances of discrimination and bias he had observed. He spoke about the cold shoulders, the dismissive attitudes, and the unfair workload Erica had been burdened with. "This hospital prides itself on professionalism and excellence, but what I've seen undermines those values. You have a problem with systemic bias that needs to be addressed." Dr. Henderson listened intently, her expression growing more concerned with each passing moment. She prided herself on maintaining a high standard of care and fairness within the hospital, and Robert's revelations were both shocking and unacceptable to her. "Judge Williams, I appreciate you bringing this to my attention," she said finally. "I assure you, I take these matters very seriously. I will look into this immediately and take the necessary actions to address it." Meanwhile, Erica continued to navigate the treacherous waters at St. Joseph's, unaware of the wheels of change that were beginning to turn. Her determination remained unshaken, bolstered by memories of the powerful women in her life who had paved the way for her. She continued to perform her duties with precision and care, earning the trust and gratitude of her patients, even if her colleagues remained indifferent or hostile. As Dr. Henderson delved into the issue, she conducted a series of confidential interviews with various staff members, trying to piece together a comprehensive picture of the hospital's internal climate. The results confirmed Robert's concerns. it became clear that there was an undercurrent of systemic bias that had been allowed to fester unaddressed. Dr. Henderson knew she had to act decisively to restore integrity and fairness within the institution. A hospital-wide meeting was promptly scheduled, and mandatory diversity and inclusion training programs were implemented. Dr. Henderson also established an anonymous reporting system for staff to safely report any form of discrimination or harassment. Additionally, she made it her mission to personally oversee Erica's progress, ensuring she had the support she needed. When Erica received the summons to Dr. Henderson's office, she felt a mix of anxiety and curiosity. As she sat down across from the administrator, she couldn't help but wonder what this was about. "Miss Johnson," Dr. Henderson began, her tone both firm and compassionate, "I owe you an apology. It has come to my attention that you have been subjected to unfair treatment during your time here. I want you to know that we are taking immediate steps to rectify this situation. Your work here is valued, and we will ensure you have the support and equitable opportunities you deserve." Erica was taken aback. While she had hoped for change, she hadn't expected such a direct acknowledgement and promise of action. "Thank you, Dr. Henderson," she said, gratitude mixing with a renewed sense of resolve. "I appreciate your efforts, and I'm committed to working hard and contributing positively to this hospital." The changes instigated by Dr. Henderson began to take root. The atmosphere within the hospital started to shift, albeit gradually. Colleagues who had previously been cold or dismissive began to show signs of warmth and inclusion. The diversity training sessions prompted many to reflect on their own biases and behaviors. Erica found herself forming tentative but genuine connections with some of her colleagues, transforming her experience at St. Joseph's. Robert Williams watched these developments with a sense of satisfaction. Although bedridden, he had played a crucial role in sparking change, reaffirming his belief in the power of individual action and advocacy. His health steadily improved, a testament to the high standards of medical care and the refreshed spirit of the hospital. Erica's journey at St. Joseph's was far from over, but she no longer felt alone. The support from Dr. Henderson and the shifting attitudes of her colleagues gave her the strength to persevere. Her path was still rife with challenges, but she faced them with unwavering determination and the knowledge that she had allies in her corner. As the seasons changed, Erica's presence became a symbol of resilience and progress. She continued to excel in her role, eventually earning a promotion to a supervisory position. Her journey inspired other marginalized staff members to come forward with their stories, contributing to a more inclusive and supportive environment within the hospital. The story of Erica Johnson in St. Joseph's Regional Hospital serves as a poignant reminder of the pervasive nature of prejudice and the imperative to confront it with courage and integrity. It underscores the impact one individual can have and the ripple effects that can transform an entire institution. And so, within the walls of St. Joseph's, a new chapter began, one characterized by fairness, inclusion, and the unwavering pursuit of excellence for all.